So for the next one, we actually have to download a file. So I'm going to right click on this file and I'm going to choose Save Link As. Now, depending on the browser that you're in, you are going to see different commands. Okay, so I'm choosing Save Link As. It should keep it as an HTML file, which is what I want. And I should mention, do not try downloading from Microsoft Edge or the Internet Explorer, because they tend to mess up files when they download them. By mess up, what I mean is they change the file types and they do all sorts of things that you don't want them to do. So I saved everything on my OneDrive under CIT 180. So I'm going to go ahead and open up lesson 2, which is where I'm going to put this file, and I'm going to save it. Now I'm going to go over into my editor, and I'm going to close top navigation because I'm done with it. And you'll see that I have lesson 2 and road not taken, so I can just click on it. Otherwise, I could use File and Open. Okay, so if you don't have this displayed, just go to File and Open File. Okay, so if you take a look here, you can see we have a header. We've got several divisions. That's what the div tag is. And then we've got paragraphs with line breaks. So we are going to be modifying this page a little bit. So first thing we're going to do is add to our head section. I'm going to put in a title. And that's the road not taken. And we're also going to put in a meta tag. Now, it does not matter what order you put things in the head section. So you can put the meta tag before or after the title. Order does not matter here because these are not things that are going to display on your page. Okay, remember, this is information to the browser. Okay, so we've got that in there. And now we're going to add a main tag. So the main tag is going to go below the body. And the closing tag I'm going to move. So I can drag it, okay, or I can press Control and X, the letter X as in X-ray, and that does a cut. And then I can come down here and I can paste it using Control and the letter V. And I'm kind of anal about how these things line up, so I'm going to actually move that over. All right, so I got my main tag in. And let's see, we're going to add an article tag below main. So let's go ahead and put article in here. And then the closing obviously needs to go at the bottom. So I'm going to Control and X. And that has to go above main. And there's my ending article. Make sure those line up. So in this example, we have an article and everything in here is self-contained. So that's kind of the definition of this HTML5 semantic article tag. So it's a complete unit. Okay, so we have our main article, and then we've got the header. And we're going to go ahead and add a footer. So we're going to go down to the bottom, and we are going to put this footer below article and above main. And so this is a citation. Obviously, this is not an original poem that I wrote, although it's one of my favorites. And we're going to make the text in our citation small. And so we're just going to say retrieved from Poetry Foundation on August 30th, 2017. And then we'll put, actually at the end of the line here, we're going to put a break. We're going to press enter, and we're going to give it a web address. Okay, I believe I got that keyed in correctly. And next thing we're going to do is above the closing main and below the footer, we're going to add a side. And we'll put a little horizontal rule, which is a line at the top of the aside. And let's put one at the bottom as well. So it kind of separates it. And then we're going to enter some information about Robert Frost, who is the poet who wrote this poem. So I'm going to pause this while I key it in. All right, so I've got this keyed in. And up in our header section. Okay, right now we've just got paragraphs for the title and the author. And we're going to change these tags to heading tags. So H1 is for the main heading. It's going to result in the largest text. So I changed the opening and closing P to an opening and closing H1. And I'm going to change the P for the author to H2. And then in addition, to even make these stand out more, I'm going to add the strong tag to the title, and that in most browsers that will boldface. Okay, and you'll notice because I have multiple tags, they close in reverse order. So I've got H1 and strong, and then I'm closing out strong first, and then I'm closing out H1. And anytime you have multiple tags, that is the way you have to have them open and close. And for the subtitle, I'm going to add the semantic EM, which stands for emphasis. And in most browsers, that will italicize. So I'm going to save these changes. And if you want to take a look at this as you're doing it, by all means, go ahead. One of the awesome things about web pages. Okay, so these lines again were the horizontal rules, the HR tags. You can see that we had specified this as a site, and we also wanted it to be small. And you can see up here we have the H1 tag, and we said it was to be strong. And here we have an H2 tag, and we used EM for emphasis. So our next little task here is to replace all the div tags with section. Okay, so all the opening div tags, we're going to change to section, and all of the closed div tags, we're going to change to closing section. And you may be thinking, oh my goodness, isn't there a way that I can do a replace command on this so I don't have to type every single one? Yes, there is. So it doesn't matter if you're using VS Code or a different web editor, they all have this command. So if we go into replace, you can see that because I highlighted div, that is what it filled in. Now I could change it to something else if I wanted to, but in this case, that is what I want to change. And I want to replace it with the word section. And then we have replace or replace all. So, you know, if you want to live dangerously, you could do a replace all, but take note that it's highlighting here diverged. So it would say section verged. So, and it's got it down here as well. So I have always adopted or done the replace because then I can kind of skip over it. And let's see. And I don't have to change everything. If you do a change all, then you're really going to have to proofread. Okay, because obviously you don't want that text change. That would look silly. Okay, so I'm going to close this. And we're going to move on here. We're going to add some additional formatting tags. These are semantic formatting. So around the word yellow. Okay, we're going to mark that. And I'm just going to move this to the end. And that should highlight it. And we're basically indicating that that text is standing out. And how that looks, and you'll see in a minute, is it actually highlights that text. And let's see, at the end of that first paragraph, where it says undergrowth, right here, we're going to add the subtag. Okay, and that's a subscript. Okay, and if you point, this is another kind of nice thing. If you point at some of these tags, if you don't know what they do or what they mean, then it will tell you. Let's see, moving on here, we're going to do a superscript. And we're going to put the superscript around just as fair. So a subscript is text that is lowered a little bit, and a superscript is text that is raised. And let's save our changes. And let's take a look here. Okay, so this is our marked text. This is our subscript. I can see I have a little problem here I'm going to have to fix. And this is our superscript. So I got a little extra greater than sign. I'm going to save this again. And if I reload this page, that should go away. Okay, and at this point, I am now done with road not taken.